Well, snap and give him one quick Thanos snap, and that was it, right, for the hopes of Full Send winning on Serpent Beach. But luckily for them, it could potentially be a 5-game set. They could certainly still fight their way back in. Still Finch, still Kresnik here on the desk with me. And Kresnik, man, that was dominant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This very first map here. There were a lot of things I think went well for them. The Terminus, the Androxus pick, the Furia, obviously played really well. What stood out for you in that first map?
They just made so much room for Evoli. They just kept going in. They kept pressuring. They couldn't kill the Terminus, and every time they turned to look at something else, he was behind them. He was behind them, above them, spamming down, having the ultimate always ready when it needed to be. Just fantastic play by him, I think. Just controlled this map, and you have to draft for that verticality.
It's like you said, right? I mean, we highlighted just coming into Serpent Beach that if you're not careful around that verticality, you could certainly get punished for it, right? I mean, and that's what this Androxus is able to do, just like you said, get to the back line and make life really hard here for Full Send, because it's not as if Full Send, I feel like, came into this one, with bad picks or anything like that. I mean, Ancient had some good moments. I felt like on this Bomb King, Stigma was able to get some decent trades, but for the most part, this was all snapping from top to bottom.
Oh yeah, and I got props to Woodknock. I mean, he's been kind of scrimming around in like the tier 3 scene, I think, for a while. I recognize his name from casuals I've played in the past, but he's kind of come in, been a pretty solid force on this Terminus, very high in the frag department, following up on a lot of things, and running kind of out their builds too. He came out with the Crush, which we're not seeing too much, did a lot of pressure with the CC. He's been kind of innovating a bit. I know he's already introduced the dash distance card to Barrack that people are really trying out now from that, and you can see just the way he's been influencing how players have been playing the game for main tanks.
And I want to give a lot of credit over to Bones as well, too, on this Furia, right? I mean, it's not just that he was keeping everybody healthy, because obviously Furia excels at that, but his positioning was excellent. I think throughout the early parts of that game, he did not die really at all. I mean, he was not under that much duress. He did a great job in terms of finding those stuns as well. It's some of those extra from Furia that when you're able to get those, you don't always count on, that I feel like really can push her up to that next level. And I think Bones did that here this game.
Oh, for sure. And Bones is kind of recently a competitive newbie. He's been playing the game forever, but just never competed. One day he's like, oh, I can be the best? Okay. And he just picked it up, and he's been insane ever since. I've seen teams scrim against this team that just are like, we can't kill anyone. They're all just healthy all the time. Anyone I get low, they're getting healed. Bones has been a force, and I expect to see that continuing going on.
Yeah, this was one of those maps where I think that if you're on the side of Full Send, everything was working for Snap, and very little was working for Full Send. And I am a strong proponent of sometimes that's not the worst loss to take, because you can kind of just write everything off and then move on to the next game. If you're right there and you couldn't quite get the job done, mentally sometimes those can be a little bit more damaging than the ones where it never was going to work from minute one.
Yeah, it's also harder to say what went wrong, right?
Right.
It's like, what's the little thing where if you get destroyed, you're like, oh, well, I mean, here's the scroll, hits the ground, rolls off the desk. A lot easier to tell what's going on then.
Well, let's go ahead and get ready for map number 2. Those picks and bans should be ready. Snap in will be in that first pick spot here this time. Looks like Full Send okay with coming down to that second. And I think I got to be wondering, they prioritized Bomb King really early on, right? Over the Furia that was let through the picks and bans. So there are some things I think that you can look back and go, well, maybe that's something we can make some adjustments on in terms of what we're prioritizing in picks and bans.
And if you're going to first pick BK, this is the map for it, not Serpent Beach. I mean, Jaguar Falls, he can control a lot more of those indoor spaces.
Yeah.
The verticality doesn't matter as much, even though he has some with the Poppy. But they're going to actually ban it instead, so even more prioritization. Just don't even want Snappin' to happen.
Yeah, clearly they value this Bomb King pick at this point, right? And by banning that one away. But it is a case of the same thing happening now. Now you're giving Bones this Furia pick yet again, which he just showed you that he can run the table on. So, I mean, it's a bit scary to me, I think, if you're on the side of Full Send to give that up.
Yeah, you don't want to give that up. They're taking 2 point tanks in response, though, and Terminus will be all right on the side angle, but they're not really limiting Snap-in too much. They can still pick up the Inara. Woodknock's going to be fine on that character. And they take it now just for that free pick. If you take it now, then they could be more flexible in their final 2 picks.
And they'll pair that alongside the Makoa. So very likely, as you said, with the Barrack and Terminus going, you want to get that Inara, so you got someone to put on the point right away. Makoa can be a little bit more of that off-tank there for them, and they've got the Fury. It's damage we're really wondering from Snap-in what's going to be coming from them next.
Yeah, and they want a Blaster, I think, for this map, or they can even play a solid flanker. They can bring out Roji. You can kind of play anything. On this map in particular, Jaguar is very open, and Androxus is going to be the pick from Full Send. I think that's not only to limit it from the other, I think it's to limit it from the other side mostly.
I do think so.
It's going to get rid of counters too, because he can
your words
reversal
heathen,
the resurrection from the Terminus
last.
and basically burst him back down to 0 if he's smart about it.
Oh, it's going to be the Tyra coming through. I feel like we do not see very much of her paired with this Koga, who has been a little bit more popular here lately. But I suppose if it is going to be the point tank, so they're all going to be maybe a bit grouped up, then she makes some sense, I suppose, in this matchup.
Yeah, other than Androxus, they really can't make a lot of space.
Yeah.
They can't really do much. They have to use Shatterfall if Terminus wants to be aggressive, and you kind of need that for Getaway more than anything.
So I think there could be a chance that this can work well, pairing it with the Koga as well. Vivian comes in at the very end for full send. So game number 2 is all rounded out, at least as far as the rosters are concerned. Let's see how the actual action goes again to game.
Thank you very much, Finch. Jaguar falls on the table for myself, Dolson, and Gormizer. Gore, this is our first look at Tyra throughout these qualifier weeks on broadcast. Where do you think she stands? Is it a good matchup against that Vivian? Obviously, Jag Falls is a good spot for her.
Yeah, I think this is one of her best maps, if not maybe her best map. And running Burn Monster on top of that is going to help out. The best thing about Jag Falls and Tyra is that even though her flame, whenever you throw out her Molotov, is random, it's going to spread randomly, you can kind of guide it if you have walls that push you into specific areas. So that's one of my favorite things about this map. Again, staircases are great. Not going to find too much on there, but I think you could utilize that specifically around the objective. Of course, it also is going to help shut down this Terminus, help melt down Vivian, because you don't even have to worry about her shield. You could potentially go into a Wrecker later on and have no stress whatsoever about just dealing with her fully.
And used to cripple that barrack even, if that's where you choose to throw out that firebomb. The bowling ball resets are so important. So if you throw that firebomb into a contested area, it's going to be tough to move through on that one. Full send, put themselves on the point. First, immediately have to back off, though. It's just the threat that Snappin is bringing to the table is enough to make them second guess. And we already saw a look at Evil Eye on that Koga, or on the Androxus, rather. Gonna get a look at the Koga this time around. Stunned up is Woodknock. He was able to garner 54% for Snappin with one trade back from Bones this time around, but full send looking a lot better here.
Oh, yeah.
With control of the point.
And I love the way they're playing this as well. Terminus is maybe going to be on shaky ground, as we've already seen, but you've got Barrack to be able to run in and kind of command the point, and then Androxus to go around. I mean, this is a good map for him. This is one of the ones we used to see. You'd have a Drogoz in the sky, Andro could go and take him down. Right now, he doesn't have the target of a Drogoz, but he'll find people in the backline, no problem.
Crossfire looking for some damage, but that's Woodknock who drops right back down, and Stigma gets that kill. Vayne garnering percentage. That's Woodknock rather now who's trying to contest that point. Stigma gets the kill onto Flame Effects. That's a bit of an opening now maybe for full send to be able to push right back through Androxus. That's 2 kills. Overtime being contested, but once that Inara goes down, nobody's left in range. Full send, fully win, point number 1.
Vayne just seems to be a little bit more comfortable, which is weird to say because he was just on Inara, which is one of his most signature champions that I've seen him play. But this Barrack is just hitting at a different pace. Aspect as well on something a little more comfortable this time around with the Moldamba, or I guess repeating the Moldamba, but feeling more comfortable on Jag Falls. And Evil Eye might be the one to look at more than anything, not because of what he's accomplishing, but because of the lack of what he's accomplishing. Last game, he was the one dictating the pace of the fight. Now, that's the first kill I've been able to see him on the giving end of instead of receiving.
Well, this is a bit of a different look for Evil Eye, right? I mean, we're the Bomb King, obviously banned out. I think that's not only good on this map, but specifically targeted against Evil Eye. Good lockup there. Good wall plus firebomb combo. Get almost now 3 kills on this defensive engagement. But it is such a different look from what we're used to from Evil Eye. I'm not sure I saw him play Koga a single time in the PPL over the last year. So getting a look at it here, I mean, it's not horrible, but maybe not up to what we saw from Androxus in game number 1.
And it's definitely an interesting choice for this map, right? There's a lot of flanks that are immediately available on Jag Falls. Koga isn't the one I'm immediately thinking, let's lock him in, let's lock him in. There's a lot of others that might even come up before him.
Let's see Drogoz.
He's doing a whole ton. Yeah, I'm kind of missing him.
I know. I wish we saw, I was hoping we would see him at one point today. We'll see him eventually, but not to be this time around on Jaguar Falls.
Evil Eye exists in these games. All we need is for a Drogoz to be pertinent.
Right. But this time around, it's going to be the Koga that's pertinent. If you're confused, this is a defensive push from Snappin as full send are all the way back in their base,
This
just
is
looking to get back to the payload.
literal opposite of a full send, by the way. A full send would be it was converted 2 minutes ago, which is physically impossible. It'd be before the timer started. This is locked inside your base. Nothing's being sent except, well, them back into the depths room.
I mean, realistically, if you're snapping, though, even if you lose a couple members here, which you haven't done yet, you're totally fine with that. With 15 seconds left, Jaguar Falls does move quickly, but with all of the trades going in your favor, it's going to be tough to get back to that payload and get anything really moving in your favor. 5 seconds left, nobody seemingly in range to kind of break that wall. Double kill punch from Stigma, no way.
Oh,
The dash just out of range. Things are looking good there for a moment from Full Send, but a better defense from Snap secures them their first point.
Now, if you get that touch and go into overtime, do you push the full payload the entire way while the timer's counting against you? Probably
if you're
not.
Full Send.
But that was a really good try to get back. Stigma
Yes.
just popped off at the very end there. 8-2-4 for the Androxus right now. Top damage in the game as well. And when there's a Vivian and a Tyra alongside you in this match, you should not be that far ahead. I mean, he's got 7,000 damage on the Tyra, and that and change over the Vivian. So Ancient maybe needs to find his footing. Sentinels are online, so he'll be able to pop those for this round. But they've got to figure out where they want to go, because it can't just be Stigma showing up at the end of the round. You need him and a little bit of assistance for him to make sure Full Send can actually fully send.
So Androxus, not only in this set, but throughout the day, has been a big difference maker. Evil Eye looking to move back around the backside of the red team. He's going to find an exposed Maul Damba with the firebomb, pinning them back off to the side there. They're not able to capitalize on any kills. Instead, it's Stigma who finds the first kill in this one. He does have the ultimate. Could clean up some of these low health targets should he choose to, and he does. Looking for just a plug of damage onto Aspect, who's able to slither his way out of that one. Asdiff doing his best Guardian impression, is locking off all the shots from his healer. Now he's going to drop up and down. Crossfire ripping through, but he's got to reanimate. Does he find a kill? He does. That's one onto the Tyra, but Snappin', they're in control of the point.
And now you've got a good position for Stigma to go forward. Bones is incredibly low. If you slip around to the back, you might be able to find that, but he's not going to be able to get that aggressive just yet. Too much coverage from Snappin' on both sides of the map. Evil Eye has been kind of ignored for a majority of this, and it's allowed him to get into positions like this and stay pretty safe.
The tug of war continues, and a bit of a split re-engage from Snappin' here. They are able to get back onto the point, locked down with Stigma, but no kill just yet. Flame Effects finds the opening kill on the re-engage, immediately traded out by that Androxus, as we've so often seen. Aspect slithers his way through right into the middle of the map, right into the waiting arms of Bones. That time is almost is going to pour some damage into that Androxus. Big loss from Full Send. Their health bars are gone. There's one member left in range. The stun connects, and point number 2 goes to Snappin'.
Honestly, there was a little bit of push and pull there that it felt like Full Send were pushing a little harder than you were seeing out of Snappin'. But I think it realistically comes down to, first off, Bones is just insane, and I'm really upset that I didn't know anything about Bones coming into today.
Don't you know, it's Sassones.
Sassones, yeah, you're right. The S set, if you're familiar. There has to be more languages than German that use that, right? It's not just German?
I only know it from German.
I know it from German. I took 4 years of it.
I did not.
And it is a very fun letter. They've actually... This is going to be a complete tangent, but we've got a minute and 50 seconds, so I can do this for a second.
I'll reel you in, don't worry.
The S set that Bones has at the beginning of his name.
Yep.
Depending on the vowel link before it, you should use the S set, which is representative of 2 S's, or literally 2 S's. And so, like, a word I'm thinking of is like Schlüssel, which is key. And, like, it's moments where it's like, okay, so do you use SS or S set?
Right.
And it changes. And I never got down the rule in my head which one you're supposed to use.
Gore, as much as I appreciate that eloquent German accent, I appreciate a good Paladins push, maybe just a touch more.
That is your lesson in grammar today for German.
That's right. Mark it down.
Now back to this.
A+ from Gormizer in his 4 years of German. And in the meantime, Snappin' have an A+, I think, on this push, working for themselves, especially with Bones now popping that in flame. It's a Dread Serpent to try to counter it out. Lots of damage going into that Barrack Shield. Evil Eye's flanked his way around the backside. And suddenly Bones again on this Fury has become an offensive threat. The dash is resetting. Stigma punches him in the face. Evil Eye goes right back to the graveyard. Almost is able to clean up some damage on one of those kills. This one's contested, Gormizer with 30 seconds left.
And you've got Woodknock full health just around the corner, still has his ult. This is going in one way or another. And with Stigma so low, it opens up the door, makes it so easy for him.
Yeah, he's just a little bit too far out. Dome Shield's going to try to counter it out. You have 25 seconds left. This was not do or die just yet. Wait for that Dome Shield to go down. Find maybe a pick. Woodknock gets a final shot on the Ancient, who had gotten a kill just prior. That's a hook right back through. Lots of damage being mitigated, but a double kill from that Inara makes this one look real good. Reanimate, blocked off, and what a beautiful play that was by Woodknock. Just need to find a kill here. They have spent a lot full send to keep this one from going through, and it will stop from going through. So this one is tied. But you got to spend all 5 of your ultimates to get it done.
And luckily, you still have those Sentinels hanging out with you, assuming they didn't get immediately detonated.
I don't think they did.
At the very end there. But like you said, every single ult has been dropped. Where Snap and are like, cool, all right, we'll come into the next round then with literally everything waiting for us. A 2-2, you keep it even. That has some merit to it. But if Snappin win this point because of the ult advantage, they can then convert, win this map, find themselves up 2-0 in the set. Yep. And that, again, is where we start to see a slippery slope. We have seen a comeback with a full reverse sweep today, but I feel like it's worth reiterating that it's just so difficult to get those 3 maps in a row.
Yeah, it's not super common, but we have seen it a few times. I mean, obviously, superior teams have been able to take out a few of their counterparts 3-0 throughout these weeks, but it's certainly a tough thing to do. Ultimate usage is the name of the game here for Snappin. You don't even need to get it done that time around to get Asdif taken care of with Stigma next to fall. Vayne can't rocket boots his way from death. And then Flame is paying off in dividends. They spend only 2 of their 5 ultimates to get a 5-0 sweep. Still have Koga's ult, still have Crossfire, still have Ancient Rage, and a great zone with 75%.
You know, I'm going to call that good. I think at just that base rate, that's pretty solid for them.
That seems good.
Already looking to melt down Barrack. Like, beautiful walls, like you said, a beautiful zone. If you're full send, there really isn't much you can do about that one.
No. I think, and at this point, now you look at how they push that advantage. They only had to use 2 ultimates to get the cap. You still have 3 to make this even more difficult for full send to defend.
And with a 17-streak Furia, I expect you're going to see an Inflame relatively, well, not soon, but in time for a final push if you need it. Evil Eye's just going to throw his out for funsies more than anything. Yep. Keeps him alive, keeps him in the fight, and gets rid of Ancient. It's kind of a 3-in-1 combination.
Well, Ancient Rage is going to have to come out to save the life of Flame Effects here with Evil Eye looking to follow up on some super low health targets. He's able to find the first. That is Ancient, who's up around the corner. He's going to slither his way in. Able to get the kill. Aspect, rather, slithers his way around the corner. Evil Eye finishes off that kill. That's what we expected. Still the Crossfire, but full send. Now their second range of ultimates is going to come up for this defense.
Bones is something else, dude. That's where my merit has been left at. A lot of this is being won. There's good DPS, there's good tank play, but when you have a support that's firing off on all cylinders like this, your game and team just gets escalated to a different level. A 20 streak, Inflame about to come up. You melt the Dread Serpent there, although you lose 2 in the process, so maybe that's going to be at least the great equalizer. Try and stall out the last minute here.
Yeah, it's a good setup there that Stigma's able to make good on. So you lose the majority of your team with 2 members backpedaling, but still a minute left is what you have to look at. Bones is going to top off the rest of his team. 21 streak burning away now for that Furia. And you're going to have the Inflame again, the Seismic Crash and the Crossfire with full send still a little bit away on that Dread Serpent. Now with Stigma going down, this gets real dangerous real quickly if they choose to use some ults. Crossfire rips on through, Reanimate picks up Asdif, so he's back in the fight. But that's the Inflame as he gets melted away one more time. Don't rub your eyes, that is Terminus dying twice in the span of just a couple of seconds. Flame Effects rounds the corner here to the backside of full send space. Snapping, they're in a good spot, but they lose Evil Eye.
Inflame came through, didn't open up the base as much as they wanted. So they're stuck in this awkward position. You don't have much left to commit, and now you've lost almost. You don't have enough to come around this last corner. Back off for a little bit. You've got 15
nice
seconds,
shots.
but Stigma is melting them off one by one. His hit list is coming through.
Yeah, beautiful shots from Stigma. 8 seconds left. Nobody from Snappin' in range. This one's looking like it's going to go all 7 points, barring a miracle play. I don't think anyone's going to make that happen. Overtime is on. Actually, Woodknock was able to make it around the backside. 7 health on Stigma. And that's all she wrote for this offensive push. Snappin', Full send, game 2, we're going to 7 points.
So I would almost want to call it a wash. You 3-3, both teams use ults to try and get around there.
Good
That
shots.
was beautiful.
Good shots.
I was talking earlier about how I had seen one of the best Accursed Arms. That might also be on that list. 2010 and 10. A very beautiful looking slash line from Stigma right now. And kind of the real reason his team feels like they're still in this. I mean, 4-12 for Vayne, hasn't been able to hold up. 4-11 for Asdif. Not holding on to as much, 6-2-31, but 12-8 and 18
Right.
for Woodnock. Like the front line on Snappin's doing solid.
This is a hard game to be a frontliner if you're not named Woodnock. Woodnock's the only one who's even remotely positive, and then some. But it all comes down to this one. Either snap and move to set point or full send are able to answer back.
Inflame at 76 though, 90% for Evil Eye, 93 on Ancient Rage. Ults are going to come up online faster for Snappin here, and that's going to make a big difference after this initial engagement.
Initial engagement does have Snappin in control of the point. With full send looking to plug away some damage. A bit of a roundabout, a bit of a circular rotation from both teams as they've swapped spots off the rip with almost getting the first blood onto Vayne. Big loss there for them. Stun out onto Stigma with Evil Eye making good. Woodnock answers with one as well as Evil Eye falls, and that's maybe all she wrote here for full send. Ancient Rage is going to save his life a little bit more. Another stun from Bones. You got to be kidding me, and a beautiful hook as Aspect is trying to get away. Meantime, Gore, 96% on the point, make it 99. Overtime is going to begin, but that's the Inflame to cap this one off. You got to be kidding me, Bones. A couple big stuns to seal up this game.
That was just beautiful from Snappin, top to bottom. And honestly, you have Maldamba staying alive there at the very end. It actually ends up helping out Snappin just because they're able to be like, okay, well, now we'll just stagger you, I guess.
Right.
Like, I mean, might as well wait the next 3 seconds so you don't have to respawn with your team. It keeps everyone on full send just perpetually staggered. You had 2 people running in, 2 people running in, and then one guy still respawning in base. It made it so much easier for you to just pick a fight over here, pick a fight over here, and like, you know, that Inflame, not necessary, just icing on top of the cake to assure you get the point.
Stigma does his best on the Andraxis to keep him in this one, but Bones, he does the Furia thing a second time around. Snapping, they go up 2-0, looking to seal out this set in just a moment.